Hello my dear friends and welcome to StudyIQ. I am Joy and today in this lecture we will discuss about India-Vietnam relations. First of all, let us understand what is the background of India-Vietnam relationship. Traditionally, close and cordial relations have their historic roots for both these countries, India and Vietnam, in the common struggle for liberation from foreign rule. That means both the countries, India and Vietnam, were under the foreign rule or under colonization. So, the national struggle for independence is one common feature that both these countries, India and Vietnam, share. And leaders like Mahatma Gandhi in India and President Ho Chi Minh in Vietnam led peoples in their respective country in the heroic struggle against colonialism. So, this is one common feature that both these countries share. That means in the history or in the past, both these countries were colonies or were under the foreign rule, and both the countries have undergone a national struggle for independence. And in both these countries, there are historic leaders like Mahatma Gandhi or Ho Chi Minh in Vietnam. So this is a common relation or common factor that both these countries share. And the relationship between both these countries, India and Vietnam, were elevated to the level of strategic partnership in the year 2007 July. So what is strategic partnership? Under strategic partnership, a country identifies other country or when both the countries agree that they are of importance or significance. So that is strategic partnership. So it is the diplomatic identification of the significance of other country. So the relationship between India and Vietnam were elevated to the level of a strategic partnership in July 2007. And in 2016, the strategic partnership which was given in 2007, this was raised to a level of comprehensive strategic partnership. That means more significance was given to both these countries by each other. So it became a comprehensive strategic partnership. And here one important factor is that the status of comprehensive strategic partnership is a status that Vietnam shares only with two countries other than India. This is China and Russia. So the comprehensive strategic partnership of Vietnam is held by China, Russia and India, three countries. Now, India and Vietnam closely cooperate in various regional forums. So, there are various regional forums in the region, and regional forums like ASEAN, East Asia Summit, Mekong-Ganga Cooperation, Asia-Europe Meeting or ASEM, etc. are some regional forums where both these countries closely cooperate with each other. So, in case of regional forums also, we will see that India and Vietnam share common interest and they closely cooperate with each other. And coming to other international organizations like UN, WTO, etc., here also there is a close coordination between India and Vietnam. So this is the background of India-Vietnam relations. Now let us discuss about the bilateral relations between both these countries. And under the bilateral relations, let us first understand what is the economic and commercial relationship between both these countries. India is now among the top 10 trading partners of Vietnam. So, if we take the top 10 trading partners of Vietnam, India is one among the top 10. And both India and Vietnam are the members of ASEAN India Free Trade Agreement. So here also they share common interest, and this interest is in terms of economic and commercial relations. So India and Vietnam, both of them are members of the ASEAN India Free Trade Agreement or the FTA. And the bilateral trade, according to the Indian data, during 2017-18 reached US dollars 12.8 billion. That means in 2017-18 this increased by 27%. So it is bilateral trade. So compared to the previous year, that is 2016-17, in 2017-18 the bilateral trade relations between both these countries increased or hiked by 27%. And Vietnam is the 8th largest export destination for Indian products in the world and second largest in the ASEAN region. So from India, taking into account the total exports, Vietnam has a significant role. So at the global level, it is the 8th largest export destination. And in case of the ASEAN region, it is the second largest export destination for Indian exports. And if we take into account the trading partnership of India and Vietnam, we will see that Vietnam is the fourth largest trading partner of India. So here under trading partner, imports as well as exports are included. So Vietnam is the fourth largest trading partner of India among the ASEAN countries. The first one is Indonesia, second one is Singapore, third one is Malaysia, fourth one is Vietnam. So Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia and Vietnam, these four countries are the top four trading partners of India in the ASEAN region. And the leaders of both the countries, India and Vietnam, has set a target of $15 billion trade by 2020. We have seen that in 2017-18 it was $12.8 billion. So both the countries have agreed that they will hike it to 15 billion by 2020 in another 3 years or 2 years. Now coming to the major exports from India to Vietnam. The major export commodities are machinery and equipment, seafood, iron and steel, pharmaceuticals, cotton, tea, coffee and spices. So these are the important export commodities. And the major import commodities, that is those goods which are imported to India from Vietnam. They are electrical machinery and equipment, copper, machinery and equipment, chemicals, iron and steel, etc. And now coming to the investments. India's investments in the Vietnam are around $1.66 billion and it is expected to rise in the coming years. And the major sectors of investment are oil and gas exploration, mineral exploration, agro processing, sugar manufacturing, instant coffee production, agrochemicals, auto components, IT and agricultural processing. So these are the major areas of investment. Now here, within the major sectors of investment, oil and gas exploration is very important and it is very significant for India. And it is expected that there will be more investments in this sector in the coming years. And now under bilateral relations, the second subcategory is assistance and capacity building. So here we will see what is the relationship between India and Vietnam in terms of assistance and capacity building. First, let us understand the lines of credit. Since 1976, India has extended 19 lines of credit which sums into an amount of $364.5 million to Vietnam. And second category is scholarships. Vietnam has been a large recipient of training programs from India and these are under Indian Technical and Economic Cooperation, that is ITEC program. So under the ITEC or Indian Technical and Economic Cooperation program, Vietnam has received a lot of training programs from India. So this is the assistance and capacity building relationship between India and Vietnam. Now next is the cultural relationship between both these countries. One major feature of the cultural relationship is yoga. Yoga is immensely popular in Vietnam and the 4 international days of yoga celebrated in Vietnam from 2015 to 18. So a huge participation of Vietnamese across the country. So yoga has emerged as a strong cultural bond between the two countries. And the popularity of yoga in Vietnam has made them to celebrate the International Day of Yoga. And there has also been a great interest in the yoga classes held at the Indian Cultural Center in Vietnam. Now coming to the Indian community in Vietnam. The Indian community in Vietnam is vibrant, law-abiding, well-educated and prosperous. A majority of them are professionals working in either Indian companies in Vietnam or in multinational companies or the MNCs in Vietnam. So they retain a strong family, cultural and business ties with India. And with the ongoing increase in the bilateral trade which we have already discussed, the investment and tourism, the Indian community in Vietnam is set to grow and prosper further in the years ahead. So when the trading relationship between both these countries, India and Vietnam, improves, there will be more economic opportunities for Indians in Vietnam. So the Indian population is expected to grow in the country. So this is the bilateral relationship between India and Vietnam. You can find the PDF of this lecture on my Facebook page, and for any queries related to your UPSC preparations, you can get in touch with me on my Facebook page or you can message me at joyce.studyiq@gmail.com. Thank you.